Cohen? Carrasco? Arenas? I don't think we have a quorum.
Okay, we'll just wait it out a couple minutes and see if
Okay.
a few folks show up. Thanks.
Yeah, so with Councilmember Crosco, now we're at 5. As soon as we get to 6, I'll call roll.
Okay, great.
Another one of those? Oh, yeah. Roll. Jimenez. Morales.
Here.
Cohen. Crosco.
Here.
Mahan.
Here.
Ricardo.
Present. Okay, thank you, Tony, and thank you everyone for gathering. And I'm sorry to be doing this virtually. I just literally got off a plane, but I appreciate all the work of the city manager's office, particularly of Suma Maciel and the entire team in our Office of Racial Equity for their efforts over the last several months, and particularly in preparation for this convening. And I believe Will Cox will be leading us off. Is that right, Lee?
Yes, Mayor. Good afternoon, city team. How's everyone doing? Good. All right. So wanted to start us off and first say thank you to the city team, Zulma and your team, and Collective Justice for getting us here today. This is an important step for us. Many of us born and raised in San Jose, and the ones that haven't have been here for a very long time, can see that it is a place where there's a lot of opportunity to belong, strive, and feel good about ourselves. Clearly, over the last 2 years, what's been brought to the forefront is not everyone has the same opportunity, and some have zero opportunity. We saw this during the pandemic, where our continuity of services and, quite frankly, brand new services needed to be spun up to support our most at-risk residents or vulnerable residents in our community. This required a lot of work on existing services that we provide every day, but also new services that we continue to provide today. Luckily, this work had started, and we could forecast some of these needs in our community. But now is time to take it to the next step. Part of the next step is ensuring that we continue to advance this work throughout our own workforce and our organization. Knowing that that was going to be one of the more important things that we would be doing in the next 2 years, our city manager asked Sulma and team to start developing mandatory training for all city personnel so we could build capacity throughout our entire organization. That work started this spring and is composed of 2 modules, and today we'll be going through part of that ourselves. To date, I should say not as of to date, but as of June 30th of this year, 99% of our employees went through the first module of this training. And 90% as of today have completed part 2. So Zulma and all of the directors in here, kudos to all of you for prioritizing this work. It's very important. This training is going back to the foundational part of racial equity, which is why racial equity is important, but also starting to expand is what is the role of local government with this work, and how can we eliminate racial disparities in our own organization and our own city. For this, we've brought together the council and senior leadership in the organization because we do have a very collaborative and open policymaking experience and collaborative experience with the two. So I invite each of you to reflect, listen, and be open-minded. And again, I want to, as I hand it off to Zulma Maciel, thank you and your team, as well as Collective Justice, for bringing us here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Zulma Maciel, I'm the director of the Office of Racial Equity. Thank you, Lee, and thank you, Jennifer and Angel, who've given me the vote of confidence and the team to carry out this really important work. I am feeling very honored and privileged to even be a part of creating a session like this for all of you, for the leaders of the organization, for the elected officials, and really for the public. So, you know, just a few months ago, our city manager, Jennifer McGuire, said, we need to have some level setting of terms and concepts for the organization. And it is my directive to mandate some racial equity training for the workforce. That was a big call to action, which we fretted a little bit, right, team? Just a little bit. But we thought, okay, well, we've got to find the right partners to do this. Since then, in short months, and with the leadership of Andrea Trong, the racial equity manager, we created the space and the platform to be able to produce 2-part foundational racial equity trainings with partnership of the Justice Collective. And we could not have been able to do that without the Justice Collective paring down the curriculum quite a bit to be able to get this through such a large workforce. You know, to date, nearly 10,000 people have watched the webinars. And that includes people that we weren't even mandated, like part-time workers and others. You know, they saw that they had access to the platform and jumped in. I might have that. No, it is 10,000. So, so today it is that piece. It's basically an abbreviated version of the foundational racial equity training. And we hope that as we go along, that you perhaps dive back to the previous study session on trauma-informed care, which was beautifully orchestrated by my colleague, Kelly Parmley, because there's a lot of intersection with the trauma-informed care and culture work that we're doing in the organization with racial equity. It doesn't negate, you know, first of all, let's acknowledge that we have all experienced trauma in our lives. We've experienced intergenerational trauma. But the fact is that the historical context, and you're going to hear more about that later, tells us that there are certain communities that have been much more harmed by trauma, and that historical and intergenerational trauma exists today. Couple that with the existing traumas felt every day for the unhoused or those who are food insecure, or simply don't have access to the services that they need. This is reproducing trauma. So I want you to think about the intersection of the previous study session and the way that it folds into today's work. Today, again, this is an abbreviated version of Foundationals Part 1 and 2, but we also have carved out the last 20 minutes or so to give you all an update on the Office of Racial Equity and a quick snapshot of some bright spots and the path forward. So with that, I am going to hand it over to the Justice Collective. Our partners, both Lena Carew and Ellie Tabuam, are part of an organization founded in 2015 in Oakland, California. So they are Bay Area and have expertise, and they do this in multiple sectors, not just local government. But please, let's give them a round of applause. And thank you again for being here today. Actually, while they're coming up here, I wanted to remind you that welcome packets, I think we also printed these out. We also have some excellent books offered by the San Jose Public Library over at the end of the tables, as well as some books offered by the Justice Collective.
Good afternoon. Are you ready? Hi. Hey, everybody. My name's Lena Carew. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. I'm joined here by my partner here, Ellie Tambuan, and it is such a delight and an honor to be here with you today. Can you hear me okay? Full disclosure, this is the first in-person session I have done since before March 2020. Yes, exactly, thank you. So I'm looking forward to being energized and responsive to the energies in the room. And we're gonna go cover a lot today. And we're gonna move through it at a pace that makes sense for us right now. So I'm gonna advance us to the next slide. So again, my name's Lena Carew, and I just want to share very briefly how I come to the work. So over the last about 15 years, I've been working in systems level change, advancing racial equity, diversity, and inclusion. My specialty and background is in higher education systems, so in the state of California. So that's been the space that I have been spending the most time in from a policy perspective, as well as a leadership development perspective. So I continue to work primarily with students of color in the community college space, if anybody wants to geek out on community college policy. All day, every day. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's been a pleasure to understand how all of these systems intersect with one another and affect our daily lives. So I'm certainly going to bring some of that into the conversation today. And I'm going to pass it over to Ellie to introduce herself before we move forward.
Thank you so much, Lena. I'm going to get to the mic just because I'm wearing a mask. Normally, I enjoy projecting. It's so wonderful to be here with all of you. We've been really looking forward to this moment, and it has been a journey, as you can imagine, working in racial equity throughout the pandemic especially. I come to this work through public service and community service. I worked in philanthropy and social impact for a decade before coming back to public administration in the city and county of San Francisco, serving on the policy subcommittee of the San Francisco Adult Probation Department, and I've also done some work in open data civic engagement in the city of Oakland's mayor's office. So a lot of what you do has very personal, implications for me, and just provides a lot of context and empathy building that I'm hoping will really come through today.
So briefly about the Justice Collective, we, as Zuma said, we were founded. I'm one of the co-founders, along with Ellie and our partner here, Danielle DeRuyter-Williams. We were founded in 2015, and our mission is to transform organizations by unlocking and uplifting the abundance within. And one thing I want to point out about that is that we really do take a strengths-based approach to our work, right? So what can be so challenging, one of the many challenges of advancing racial equity is the opportunities that there are to really make people feel guilty and shameful, and that can challenge our ability to help kind of move hearts and minds and really be open to new ideas and experiences that are different from ours. So it's really important that we, when we assess organizations, train organizations, and develop strategies with organizations, we're looking at first, what works well? Why does that work well? And how can we do more of that, while also acknowledging that there are probably things that aren't working so well and aren't serving our communities, and how can we do better towards that? Our core values are abundance, collaboration, radical and empathetic leadership, and transformation. So this is a little bit about who we are. But before we get started and dive into content, I want to invite Zane Barnes up to the podium here to read out loud the city's, I believe it's the city's statement on the First Peoples Land recognition to start our space. And because this is a sacred practice, I'm going to go ahead and open that up with the chime. Let me know if you can hear it.
Thank you very much. You may ask why I'm doing this First Peoples Land recognition, but as some of you do know, I am a Native American from rural South Dakota, spending my formative years on a reservation in Eagle Butte, South Dakota. And so this is something that's very close to my heart. So I get the privilege of reading the First Peoples Land recognition that states the following. The City of San Jose would like to acknowledge that it is located on the ancestral and aboriginal homelands of First Nation indigenous people of the greater Santa Clara Valley. The City of San Jose recognizes our First Nation relatives as the original stewards of the Santa Clara Valley and San Jose area, and give thanks for the lands they call home, which is now the City of San Jose and home to millions of settlers who continue to live and thrive on these lands. We recognize that every member of the greater San Jose community has and continues to benefit from the use and occupation of these lands since the City of San Jose's establishment in 1777. Consistent with our values of community, inclusion, and diversity, we have a responsibility to acknowledge and make known through various enterprises the City of San Jose's relationship to First Nation peoples on these lands. Our continued efforts in fostering relations with First Nation Aboriginal people who call San Jose home and continue to have a relationship with that land are enduring. The City of San Jose's efforts are rooted in deep respect, understanding, and collaboration, and an effort to maintain balance amongst its inhabitants and its ancestral caretakers. The City of San Jose acknowledges and supports First Nation people in solidarity and commitment to partnering and advocating for a more equitable and inclusive future. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for that. We're going to be certainly talking more about the experience of Indigenous communities here in San Jose and across California. And if you haven't already, check out this website. It's actually really, really interesting. So native-land.ca. And you can see similar to this image that's on the board, which shows the United States of America and other areas that, and a general mapping of various tribes across the country. So, and you can plug in your area, either places you've lived before or traveled to before, and learn more about the Indigenous history there. I'm gonna actually go back a slide. So here's our agenda for today. For those that are in person, you probably have a handout. So here we are, being welcomed and getting started. I'm gonna pass it over to Ellie in just a moment to lead us through a somatics exercise. If you're online, you're here in person, my hope is that you'll engage in that activity. Then we're going to spend some time on historical structural inequities, focusing on San Jose, of course, but also the Bay Area, right? So there's all these interrelationships between the region. Then we're going to explore our own personal identities and how they relate to your roles and your leadership at the city. We're going to take a 10-minute break and then come in for the last portion, which is demystifying dominant culture, and there's some activity in there as well, and then exploring some best practices for leaders. Then we'll hand it off to the OR team, as Zuma mentioned, for some progress updates from the department. Okay, I'm gonna pause here. Are there any questions? Okay, look at that. All right. Okay, so our learning outcomes for today, and I'm just going to read it off the screen here. So first, we're here to understand and analyze the government's role in key historical and present racial justice contexts. Then we're here to identify and describe examples of racial equity, diversity, and inclusion concepts, define and assess common myths related to dominant culture and their relationship to an equitable and inclusive workplace and the city, recognize and describe the interrelationship between emotional intelligence, bias, and racial equity, identify and assess best practices in the field for equitable leadership, and to drive equitable outcomes at the City of San Jose. And lastly, we're going to focus on awareness of city's efforts and accomplishments and a path forward at the end. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm going to walk through what we're framing here as an offer of individual intentions. Sometimes we call these community agreements. If you work either in your department, you might have even team agreements here at the city, or if you've done any community work, often there's community agreements. And all that is to say is, how do we show up in this space together, right? So you might already have some existing norms and agreements, and I'll be interested to hear about that later. But we're going to offer a few to get started. So first, we're inviting you to try it on. Be willing to try on new ideas or ways of doing things that might not be what you prefer or are familiar with. Next, we're going to practice self-focus. So attend to and think about your own experiences and responses. Pause when you hear something new to you or something you may not agree with, and consider if your instinct is to speak for a whole group or express assumptions about the experience of others. Next, we're going to refrain from blaming or shaming ourselves and others. So that refers to sometimes your internal narratives, right? Oh, I didn't say that right, right? Like that's an internal narrative sometimes people have that prevents them from actually sharing openly, right? We're not here to blame ourselves. We're not here to blame others. Sometimes we just don't say it right, and that's okay, right? We're here to move on. All right. And last, practice mindful listening. Be willing to be surprised. I struggle with this one, but I'm trying. Lifelong learning. Be willing to be surprised, to learn something new. Listen with your whole self, whatever that looks like for you. Are there any questions about this? Okay. They're here for us the whole session, even though I'm not going to stay on this slide, right? So we get to refer to them if something comes up and we need to refer to them. All right, so this is Fist of Five. Can I get a raise of hands for those here live in the audience? Have you seen this before? Is this familiar? Cool, okay, I got one, that's sweet. So because we have, as Zuma said, so much content to get through, right? We're not gonna be able to have as much large group discussions as we would typically have, right? And so because of that, I need to know where y'all are at, right? And so my hope is that by offering this Fist of Five, it's a way to get a mood check to know when I can speed up or when I need to slow down, right? Because we want to really bring everyone along with us, right? So a fist represents like, not only do I not understand, I'm not okay to move forward, right? It's actually blocking, right? This is used actually in consensus decision-making models that you might be familiar with. So a fist would be a block where five is like, I'm good to go, I have the information I need, let's keep going. So if you put up a one, so we're going to reference this, it's in your handouts if you're here in person, so feel free to refer to them. A one, I'm uncomfortable and I need help before I can move on. Two, I'm a little uncomfortable, but I want to try to move on. Three, I'm not sure, right? It's like that like kind of neutral-ish option. Four, I'm comfortable enough to move on. You might have a question, maybe take a note of it, right? We'll try to address it. Five, again, ready to move on. So I'm going to refer to this throughout the session, especially when I can't sense where y'all are at. And if you're streaming online, I would like to hear, you can go ahead and type in the chat, if you're a fist to five. Okay, and I'm going to move us along. And I'm going to pass it over to Ellie to walk us through a mindfulness moment. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lena. You may notice some QR codes around the room. You are welcome to scan them and take a survey that our colleagues in the Office of Racial Equity have made available. Please let us know if you have any questions or any issues getting in. But I wanted to make sure to mention that and may give a reminder in a little bit. So, mindfulness, right? This is a concept that some equate with an industry, culture, spirituality. Regardless of your orientation to it, there's a reason why we do it before presenting on the gravity of the historical context we'll be sharing today. So drawing a line back to the trauma-informed work that you did in the last study session, it's okay if this term is new for you. Anyone heard of the term somatics? Familiar-ish? Okay. Our emotions live in our bodies. This is not simply intellectual work. And so we're going to go into the benefits of this in a minute. And it's okay if this term is new to you. We're just going to ask you to trust the process. So we're going to do a 1-minute breathing exercise. And this is just to get us noticing how we're feeling in this moment. So as you look at the image, inhale as you see the image expand, and exhale when you see the image contract. Okay, and just do your best. Thank you, Lita. This is called triangle breathing, and it is a self-regulating tool that helps us take control of the moment when our emotions are sending us to a different place. Thank you for leaning in to do that with us. Many folks don't know that exercises like this can actually interrupt implicit bias as you are about to make a bias-based decision. These exercises help us stay present and receive and process information, helping us interrupt that bias and those stereotypes from being the story that we lead with in our work. And so in racial equity, the ability to take control of our minds and emotions is everything. It helps us prevent ourselves from saying and doing things that may harm others, intentionally or unintentionally. So these are a few of the benefits of mindfulness, and one of our greatest tools in racial equity work. One of the most surprising things is the application and the neuroscience and biology of when we feel discomfort, we can use this to manage it when we need to. It actually turns out that some of the tools we've been taught to use for focus, concentration, performance, stress management, also work extremely well to keep us grounded when we're about to have difficult conversations. When we're disturbed, thinking about, learning about data, history, lessons that are tough to confront. Witnessing, recovering from, even committing a microaggression. So when you hear us say the term somatic, we're talking about what we feel in our physical bodies, and we sometimes forget that our minds are a part of our bodies, and that, again, the emotion lives there as well. So I'm going to talk about something TJC likes to call the stretch zone. If anyone is familiar with the concept of a stretch zone, you'll know that it lies right there in the middle between the comfort zone and the panic zone. This is where learning happens. Learning does not happen when we feel comfortable. We want it to feel comfortable, right? It also doesn't happen as well in the panic zone either. So we're going to ask you to notice when you're feeling uncomfortable and just check yourself to see what will it take for me to stay in the stretch zone. I'm going to pass it back to Lena to get into our historical context.
So I want to start with some disclaimers. And Ellie mentioned this at the start. The content that we're presenting today is really hard. And while we're not going to show explicit images, right, we are going to show images that represent or refer to violence, right? Because racial injustice and oppression are violent acts. And so, and you know, just to be really candid, we, you know, are students of this, right? And we research this, and our, you know, this is my whole world, right? Is much of the data that I'm about to show you. I'm looking at this every day. And there's some days where it's just a lot harder than others. So, you know, recalling last month's session, right, and trauma-informed work, I really want to emphasize that if you need to move around, right, if you need to take a break, if you need to leave the room, do what you need to do for yourself, right? Open invitation to do that, because this is hard. And even I'm presenting, right? And it's hard for me to present, so you might even hear that in my voice at moments, okay? So, you know, we're gonna move through it in the ways that we need to. It's necessary. We're also, I always like to start with a little bit of trainer humility. I am not an expert in your lives, right? You're the expert of your own life, right? So I'm, you know, there's a lot of knowledge that you likely already have, especially about the city of San Jose. I'm going to present some assumptions that I'm making. I just want to be clear about my assumptions as we're starting this session, okay? There's a lot of history here, y'all. We have less than 30 minutes at this point because we're already over time. So the truth is that I'm not going to be able to give adequate justice to every single community that's been impacted. I'm going to do my very best, okay? There's a lot of details, and there's some assumptions I'm going to make, and I'm going to move on to that slide. So as elected officials and senior leaders, we thought to ourselves, well, because you have so much knowledge already coming into this room, we're making certain assumptions, and here they are. You have a basic understanding, we assume that you have a basic understanding of the history of racial disparities and injustice in the United States. We are assuming that you are well aware of the history of San Jose and how the city was designed, although we're going to talk about that a little bit too. You understand that communities of color in San Jose have experienced and continue to experience the effects of structural inequity and racism. It's getting bolder and bolder, my assumptions, aren't they? You also understand that income inequality exists in San Jose. And lastly, you already understand why the city has determined that racial equity matters. It's also fair to say we might not always agree on every part of that, right? But that there's a baseline understanding of why we're here today, right? And that you have some foundational understanding of these things, okay? And if questions arise and you're not sure, please write them down, and we're happy to make ourselves available following the session to talk, okay? All right, here comes the tough stuff. So this is an incredible map. Part of the fun of putting together these presentations is we come across incredible resources. Here is a map. This is Indigenous Bay Area of 1769. This really shows how diverse the First Peoples, Indigenous peoples are, right? Certainly not a monolithic group. So this represents, you know, the U.S. annexation of California in that's definitely not right. That's the wrong date, I'm sorry. It's like 1846. Let me grab my notes. I'm sorry about that typo. We'll clear up the typo. So when this treaty happened, right, there's this transfer of land ownership. And one thing that's really important to talk about in this history, right, is that you have both, at this time, you have both indigenous peoples here, and you also have Mexican landowners here. And so when this treaty happened, very shortly after the treaty was enacted, about within 5 years, you have land ownership of the original occupants being taken away from them due to all kinds of things like unable to prove their land ownership or be able to afford the cost of proving, right, that land ownership. And so almost immediately, right, you have folks having their land taken away due to this treaty, despite, you know, public narrative, right? That they were that California and the government was gonna work with landowners at that time, which absolutely resoundingly did not happen, right? It's immediately inequitable and unfair. Another point to raise here, yeah, 1848, sorry about that. So although there was this pledge to protect the rights of Mexican, at the time, Mexican indigenous landowners, it was really, you also simultaneously have the gold rush, and you have white folks coming and squatting on land and eventually being able to benefit from the transition or for the removal of land ownership of those that were previously here. Okay, so you have these two things happening simultaneously, which dramatically shifted and really paved the way for wealth building and in the development of what, the shift in those communities at that time. There's an interesting quote here that I wanted to present before I move on from this slide. So from historians Robert Heiser and Alan Elmquist, they recount that by 1856, and then here's the quote, most of the great Mexican estates in the northern half of California had been preempted by squatters or sold off by their owners to pay for the legal fees incurred in trying to have the titles validated, right? So it was immediately right bureaucracies, right, that had, that decimated these communities, right, from the start. And it's just really important. So hopefully this is a map. Maybe you've seen it before. Maybe it's something you can come back to and explore further. But want to make sure that when we start talking about the racial injustices and inequities that have happened, but here at City of San Jose, but in our region as well, that we're really grounded in indigenous peoples and the Mexican landowners that were here before many of us. In your handouts, you also should have a copy of this timeline. And this timeline, I am going to read through it just a bit to ground ourselves in this particular timeline. This timeline is focused on racially exclusionary policies and practices in the Bay Area. The examples that I'm going to give following this will have a through line, right, to many of these historical timelines, okay? And I'm going to do this quickly. Okay, so we have a range here, right? So we have anywhere, the timeline starts at 1850, but of course also mentions that it predates 1850. And so it's about 120 years, and we land at 1970 with some suggestion that these policies are still continuing. Okay, so we have state violence and dispossession. So statutes eradicated by Spanish, Mexican, and US, so local, state, and federal governments, resulting in dispossession of land and exclusion from the right to property and enforcement of these laws through police violence. So that's exactly what we were just talking about on the map prior. Okay, we have extrajudicial and militia violence. So this is from pre-1850 to post-1970. Acts of violence against individuals, such as assault and murder, and or their homes, arson and vandalism to force or keep specific racial groups out. Okay, so that's a continued practice. Next, from 1880 to 1966, we have racially restrictive covenants and homeowner association bylaws. So we have deed restrictions that prohibited the sale or lease of homes to specific racial groups, bylaws restricting HOA membership by race. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, okay? Then from 1870 to post-1970, implicitly racial zoning. Also, we're going to talk about this. So local land use regulations that are race neutral on paper, but have a racially exclusionary effect. Then we also have below that, we have explicitly racial, that was implicitly racial zoning. Then we have explicitly racial zoning from 1890 to 1917. And that is the land use regulations that explicitly exclude certain racial groups. We jump ahead just a little bit, and then we have from 1937 to post-1970, racialized public housing policies, local housing authority segregation policies, and racial quotas, barriers like voter referenda, to building new public housing, demolition, and public housing without replacement. It's Article 34. And then from 1950 to post-1970, we have urban renewal, state acquisition of private land through eminent domain, and forced displacement of residents to allow for redevelopment. Below that, we have late 1800s to post-1970. So we have the racial steering and block busting, a realtor practice of steering home buyers away or towards certain neighborhoods depending on the race of the buyer. And then lastly, we have 1945 to post-1970, we have white flight and municipal fragmentation, the movement of white households away from urban centers to the suburbs, incorporation of new suburban principalities. Okay, so there's a lot going on here, and as you can see, all of these timelines, right, are intersecting as well. So we have compounding effects from these racially exclusionary policies and practices in the Bay Area, and San Jose was certainly part of this history and unfortunate legacy. One thing I was really surprised to learn in the research is that historians have documented that San Jose was considered surely a sundown town, among others. So for those that might not be familiar with sundown towns, talk a little bit about it, right? So it's a formal threat of violence for anybody who, as it suggests after sundown, who is not white, is not safe, okay? And so San Jose was surely a sundown town. Other areas as well, local areas. I actually found it interesting that parts of San Mateo was probably, in the research, was probably sundown towns. But what stood out to me the most about this is that it's something that we are, if you are familiar with sundown towns, it's often thought about as something that happened to the South and not so much here, right? And so what's so hard about that is that there's this assumption that the Bay Area in particular is this liberal bastion that doesn't have this legacy, but it does, right? And that makes a lot of sense because migration patterns, folks are coming from the South and moving here, right? And enacting much of these same practices come with the same value systems. And so indeed, we have sundown towns here directly in the Bay Area and in San Jose as well. Of note, there's a historian, James Lowen, who's a historian who actually just passed last year and documented many things, including sundown towns as well as other tragedies that happened in sundown towns. And so the records show that both Antioch and San Leandro were surely sundown towns, and that Burlingame, Lafayette, Palo Alto, Mill Valley, Napa, Piedmont, and Ross were probably sundown towns. I was surprised to not see Alameda on there as well. I think that's been something that I've seen before. So Lowen, the same researcher, notes that in the 1940s, when realtors proposed designating the entire San Mateo Peninsula a sundown town, that through the proposal of the sundown town, the area was shelved, so the threats and violence largely kept people from moving in, right? So you have, so even if it wasn't formally enacted as a sundown town, right? You still have the practice of it. And so not only are the folks that are there not safe to be there either formally, but even informally, they're not safe to be there, right? So that's, I think, really important to mention. And also, I was very surprised and saddened to learn that there was also lynchings here, okay? So we have the work of historian Monroe Nathan who recorded meticulously lynchings across the country. And of course, far fewer here, right? Far fewer here as compared to the South. But they happened here too, okay? And so it's been documented that there were 3 acts of white supremacist lynchings in the Bay Area between 1880 and 1920. That these murders were carried out. So here, a black man in San Jose was murdered in 1892, and I later found out that 2 were also murdered in retaliation for accused of murdering the son of a department store owner, Brooke Hart. And I have an image, and I'm not going to show an image of that, but there is actually an image of that lynching. This is like tough, y'all. Like, this is real. This is so hard. I'm feeling it in my body now as I talk about it. You know, there's also, to name it, I don't want to skip over this, but there was also a Mexican man in Los Gatos in 1883 and another Mexican man in Santa Rosa in 1920 that was lynched. So, you know, this is right at our doorstep, this legacy here. So I'm going to move us forward and talk about, to give texture, the whole point of this is to give texture to this timeline and understand the government's role in supporting and enacting and enforcing these things, right? So here's an image. So this is a fire destroyed the Market Street in Chinatown. And I know you all are familiar with this, right? Is of course in my research too, I saw that there was a formal apology and a resolution passed a year ago yesterday, actually, which is quite cool. So here's an image, and I'll read it. I'll read the caption at the bottom. So a fire destroyed the Market Street in Chinatown in San Jose, California in May 1887. On Tuesday, it would have been September 28th, 2001, the City Council apologized for decades of discrimination against Chinese and Chinese American residents. So here's that image. So, you know, there was a huge wave. I mean, this period of time, right? So this is the late 1800s, right? This period of time, the anti-Chinese sentiment was super strong, right? Super strong. And in fact, just shy of 10 years prior, we also have an anti-Chinese riot takes place at the San Francisco City Hall. And so again, you know, we certainly, San Jose, right? You've now acknowledged that really hard past and the anti-Chinese sentiment and the burning down of Chinatowns here. And same thing is happening, right? So this is happening across the region, just to be very clear. Anybody seen this image before? Let's raise a hand. Yeah, a couple folks. Yeah. Okay. Holy Lord. All right. So we're jumping ahead a little bit more into the timeline, right? So this is around World War II, where my grandfather served and died. So here's Japanese folks being forcibly removed from their homes in San Francisco. You see their bags packed here. They were only allowed to bring what they could pack in their bags and forced to sell off the rest, and literally overnight, which meant that they lost any value that they might have had, right? Any wealth that they've created for themselves. I'm not going to go into the history of internment camps. That's one of those assumptions I'm making, right? But this image is very powerful. This is very, very powerful to me. I'm going to talk a little bit about how the internment camps that Japanese Americans across the Bay Area were sent to, actually in combination with the wartime. So we have the wartime influx of labor into the Bay. So what's happening simultaneously is that we have Japanese folks being taken from their homes and put into internment camps. And we have the great migration of black folks coming from the South, definitely to the north, also to the west, and coming into the Bay Area. And this is around the same time that we actually see a shift in what was previously Asian Americans as the highest population minority demographic, and that flips with black folks that came up here from the South. Okay, so just putting that all into context. And so too, the racialized attitudes are also shifting. So from what was very anti-Chinese, very anti-Japanese, then shifts even more to very anti-Black, right? And that's represented in different ways, including here. So we've all seen Ku Klux Klan members. Their branding is strong. And here, this is an image of the 1920s. This is actually at the Oakland Auditorium. And this is a cross burning. And it's really, it took me a moment to sit with this. So we have this. So this is actually from the 1920s, but certainly they had been organized long before that. They continue on strong through the wartime era. And so that, you know, anti-Chinese, anti-Japanese, anti-Black sentiments are very, very strong here in the Bay Area. And so what's even more fascinating is that it's now the Kaiser Convention Center, which is here at Lake Merritt in Oakland, where I live. And I'm passed by here all the time. Black Joy Parade goes right through here, right? We live in this duality, right? This puts us in perspective. That's my time. All right. So I'm gonna move to the city of San Jose. So we're kind of zooming out, we're zooming in. You know, hopefully you're not getting dizzy. But here we have a couple images of the development of what is kind of the second, I guess, City Hall, downtown center, the development of the highways, right? And in the webinar training that we did for all of the fabulous employees of City of San Jose, we went pretty deep into the development of the city, because it's really the post-wartime era, 1950s and 60s and 70s, where these highways paved the way, along with federal policies, the realtor practices that we saw up there on that timeline, that changed, so that infrastructure that's built changes the demographics, devastates communities of color that were living there to make way for highways that those same communities did not benefit from equally, right? Because then the city becomes car dependent, right? And is a way for those that are living in the suburbs to be able to have ease of transportation to and from work and school and just living their daily lives, right? But at the expense of the communities of color that were living there previously. I cannot and will not end a historical context teach that is far too short without also celebrating the history of resistance and resilience and revolution here in San Jose. There's been incredible activism here, incredible organizing that has been at the forefront of change, both here in the Bay Area, here in San Jose, and across the world. So I probably don't need to announce who these folks are to you, but I will. So we have Dr. Harry Edwards over here, who organized what later became, so it was the Olympic Project for Human Rights. Dr. Edwards, I believe through the discus at San Jose State University, and was organizing and advocating along with other students that led to the very famous John Carlos and Tommie Smith 1968 Summer Olympics in Mexico City. That history is here, right? So it's just, I really want to uplift the, that we're both, right? There's a history, there is a legacy of great oppression, disenfranchisement, and violence. And there's also a tremendous history of resistance to those things. And that continues on today. Also want to be sure to lift up other communities, many of which are working together around this same time. So I'm uplifting a very similar time period, right? We have Sofia Mendoza, an incredible, right? Not the only one, but certainly an incredible force for organizing on the east side of San Jose, really catalyzed by police violence that she was experiencing in her neighborhoods, directly. I mean, just reading about her and learning about what her charge and thinking about the Black Lives Matter movement now, so many parallels, right? So many parallels. Sophia Mendoza is absolutely a community leader here, and was essential to, and later, you know, went from, because our lives intersect, right? These issues intersect. So went from, you know, police brutality to other grassroots organizing efforts, addressing housing issues, right? It's very similar to actually the last slide here, that a lot of what they're talking about here is about representation in the student body, but also not able to get the housing so that they could be successful students, right? So it all links back to housing, which all links back to the infrastructure here in San Jose, so on and so forth, and I hope that's clear. All right, and we also have, of course, a very famous Chicano commencement, the walkout in 1968. I want to use the fist of 5 and see how y'all are doing. I'm running through this stuff, and we're going to do a little bit more. All right, I got a big hand. Okay, I got some 5s. Okay, we're ready to move on. Thank you for letting me go through this. This is hard. Again, take the time that you need. We're going to move on to the next, and I'm going to kind of create a through line here. So clearly identities, right? So racial and ethnic identities, specifically, but not exclusively, really played a significant role in catalyzing, you know, both the government-sanctioned violence, but also the grassroots organizing and activism, right? So in the next section, right, what we're moving on to is this, understanding your role in what we call READY, which is racial, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And in this next section, we're going to turn our focus to our individual, personally held identities, so that we can understand how these identities shape our experience, but also how they shape the ways in which we lead and make decisions. And so from here, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Ellie. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena.
Yeah.
All right, excellent timing. So we're going to be debunking some myths about equity work and what folks think of as DEI. One of those common myths is that DEI work is for white people. Another common myth is that it's about other people. And in fact, our own internalized self-image and awareness has just as much to do with our actions externally, and often informs that behavior, right, in really significant ways. So this is why we're going back to identity. We are going to turn the questions that we have, we were going to do a poll, we are going to do a discussion instead and just ask you, this is an interactive session, to think about your responses to each of these questions, okay? So when I ask, just take a moment to pause, take note how you're feeling and what your answer would be. So if you had to choose one identity, which would you identify with most? Your race and or ethnicity, gender identity, sexuality, nationality, religion or faith, politics, positionality in society, none of the above. Just take a moment to think what your answer would be. If you had to start with just one, what's your primary? And the next question is your profession an important part of your identity? We would expect in this room, absolutely yes. And you'd be surprised, depending on the context, how much that can change. Any thoughts coming up that anyone in the audience would like to share? Any? Absolutely, thank you. Race or ethnicity, gender identity, sexuality, nationality, religion or faith, politics, your political identity, your physicality, None of the above, something else. All right, we're going to watch a video that gets to the concept of race. So as you think about how much you ascribe race as a part of your identity, in answering that last question, we're going to go back to how did we come up with the concept of race, right?
You may think you know exactly what race you are, but how would you prove it if someone disagreed with you? The fact is, even though race drives a lot of social and political outcomes, race isn't real. One of the first people to attempt to categorize humans according to race was a German scientist around 1776. He came up with 5 different groups according to physical appearance and geographic origin of their ancestors. Americans of European descent eagerly bought into this type of thinking around the same time. Some historians have said the idea that there were different races helped them resolve the contradiction between a natural right to freedom and the fact of slavery. If whites were their own distinct category, then they could feel a lot better about denying freedom to people who they labeled black and decided were fundamentally different. But as political priorities change, definitions of race in America adjust right along with them. For example, if you were of Mexican birth or ancestry in the United States in 1929, you were considered white. Then the 1930 census changed that to non-white to limit immigration. Later, when the US needed to increase its labor force during World War II, these people were switched back to white. And what it took to be black once varied so wildly throughout the country, from 1/4 to 1/16 to the infamous 1 drop of African ancestry, that people could actually change races just by crossing state lines. Then suddenly in 2000, the government decided that Americans could be more than one race and added a multiracial category to the census. This has left many Americans scratching their heads when it comes to selecting who they are. As many as 6.2% of census respondents selected some other race in a 2010 survey. The idea that someone might look one way and identify another way, or that they might be really hard to place in a racial category, is not new. This is why there was a public debate about whether MSNBC's Karen Finney could say she was black, or how we can't even agree on the racial label assigned to the President of the United States. Of course, many people feel their racial identity is very clear and very permanent, but the fact that some people have changed theirs and that no one can really argue with them shows how shaky the very idea of race is. This is all because there isn't a race chromosome in our DNA that people can point to. It simply doesn't exist. When the medical community links race to health outcomes, it's really just using race as a substitute for other factors, such as where your ancestors came from, or the experiences of people who may have been put in the same racial group as you. Dorothy Roberts explains that sickle cell anemia is a prime example of this. The disease is linked to areas with high rates of malaria, which include some parts of Europe and Asia in addition to Africa. It's not actually about race at all. This, of course, does not mean that the concept of race isn't hugely important in our lives. The racial categories to which we're assigned can determine real-life experiences, they can drive political outcomes, and they can even make the difference between life and death. But understanding that racial categories are made up can give us an important perspective on where racism came from in the first place.
All right. Thank you, Lena. So we're going to get into a discussion now that we're going to ask a few questions and just invite your honest answers. And as you answer, notice how you're feeling. Notice how you're feeling in your body. Notice if you feel like speaking, where you don't feel like speaking. That noticing is part of equity work. Oh, sorry.
It's okay, it's okay. Yeah, so we're gonna open up, so I'm gonna ask a couple questions. And for anybody online, if you could put your response in the chat and we'll try to read it out loud. Question. Given that very, very brief history that we just watched on that video, right? That the way in which we have constructed the concepts of race, right? is not new, yet these conversations feel so new sometimes. So I'm wondering, and I'd like to just, if you want to raise your hand and call on you. Why do so many people believe now that the current conversation about race, gender, even ableism is new? It's really not a new concept, but it's a new conversation. Why?
Joy, can we ask you to speak up just a little bit so we can all hear? I'm sorry.
Wow. I love that. Joy is one of our co-facilitators who's joining online.
I can only see on the screen a person who's
That's
identified
cool.
as Joy. That's the only person who shows up on the screen.
Okay. Joy, were you sharing something? Do you want to unmute? Oh, me.
No, I was not sharing anything, but thank you for the acknowledgement.
Okay.
Hi, Joy. For some reason, it's the only, perhaps I've got a pin on accidentally. That's probably
Yes.
it.
Yes.
I must have a pin on the Zoom screen. I literally can't see anybody in the room right now.
Can you?
And that's why it's
Yeah.
pinned.
If you unpin me, then you'll see the whole.
Oh, got it. Thank you. I'm very, very sorry. Thank you. I was just hoping that whoever was speaking just a moment ago could speak a little louder. That's all. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for the confusion mistake on my end.
Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you very much.
I love it. I love it. Okay, cool. So I will repeat my question. So my question is, why does this conversation feel so new? Race is not a new construct, right? Why does it feel so new? You can challenge my presumption there. Go ahead.
Because the death of George Floyd challenged our perceptions. It's challenged us to look at ourselves and look at our society and our involvement in and our place in society as a result of that murder. And for those online, Pam Foley.
Rosalind Huey, I would just add to that, I think also because of social media, and we're able to see images so very quickly, like while things are happening, we see the images. And I think that's almost shocking, right, to many of us.
It's so hard to see the same images repeated over and over. In fact, it was so hard when, I think it was especially around the George Floyd murder, where if you're on Instagram, you would scroll and it would autoplay videos. And there was many times where I know myself and many folks in my community took some fasted on social media for a while because I would scroll and I wasn't sure what was going to play automatically. And that, going back to last month's session, right, on trauma-informed work, that design was not trauma-informed design of technology, right? Thank you for uplifting this. I'll take another response. Anybody want to add? Anybody online? How are we doing? Good. Okay.
How about this next one? How do beliefs about race, the concept, differ across groups and cultural lines? And why is that? What do you think about that? Why are they perceived differently? Also inviting folks online. Yes.
This is Sergio. It's not a long answer, but I think what comes to mind for me is just, I think what the beliefs, I'm just thinking about the question again, why do they differ? I think it's just based on experience, right? In my mind, to a certain extent, is the exposure that you've had to people that are different, whatever that means, right? Whether it be color, gender, whatever it may be. And so I think that opens up people's minds as they get a little older, and so you tend to be more receptive to other people.
Yeah, thank you for that. Anyone else? Differences of experience. Absolutely. Any other thoughts? Does this bring up any new questions for anybody? Okay. Yes. Oh, thanks so much.
I'm Jackie, and it just seemed to me it brought back the question of race as this made-up thing. And so even though we've tried to categorize all Asian groups as being the same thing and all Hispanic groups as being all the same thing, the reality is there's so many different groups underneath that have, again, different experiences, in different parts of the world. And it just emphasizes for me how race truly is this made-up thing.
Yeah, the diversity of experience, right? And the diversity of culture, yet somehow society has lumped us all together into just a few different categories. This question, who determines what is and isn't taboo? What do we get to talk about? What is polite? What is respectable? And why is that?
Just noting that conversations about race have felt very taboo for such a long period of time. But why is that, and who determined that? Who set that norm? It's interesting because in this, as we're posing these questions, my hope is that you're at least you're thinking about it, and I'm less concerned about even answering the question right now because we're going to get to it together. But it is interesting to think about. It took a long time for me to even start to think about what's considered taboo or not taboo, and how that now really ranges across various cultures, communities, generations, etc. So we're going to explore what's behind these questions more closely as we move forward. Pass it to you.
Thanks, Lena. So have anyone in the room or anyone online heard of Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw? Yes. And you've heard of the term intersectionality? Okay. So the term has been used lots of different ways, especially within the last couple of years. And we want to make sure that you all know the history of how the concept was introduced. Black women scholars are often not credited with the concepts that they introduced to the world, and that is something that we wanted to make sure we did here today. So again, this theory was first presented by her in 1989, more than a few years ago. She published a paper in the University of Chicago Legal Forum titled Demarginalizing the Intersection of Race and Sex. She took on 3 separate cases and illustrated how the court narrowly viewed trying sexism and racism. So what did that mean? Black women had to choose which discrimination they wanted to fight against in the courts. They had to try either a racism or sexism case, and the courts argued that doing both was not possible. I mean, I got the chills when I said that, right? What does that mean? How do you turn off a part of yourself that the world is experiencing and you are being shaped by that experience all the time? So we're going to go into another interactive exercise. And this piece is really about, again, looking at ourselves, knowing what is visible And what are the implications of that? And what is invisible? And what are the implications of that? The so what? So this exercise we call Identity Prism, and we use the metaphor in the ways that I just shared about. What's visible, what's perceptible, what's invisible to others. Just think about what comes up for you. So in modeling that, what's visible for me, I'm a light-skinned woman of size. I have long hair that I'm wearing up. Depending on the context, you might see a few different things, and you'll come up with some kind of judgment, you know, whether it has to do with your level of safety or other things. What is perceptible? What's noticeable? I was raised in Southern California, but born in Minneapolis, and people don't know that until I say, can you get me a can of soda pop? Right? So accents, vocabulary, references to landmarks, etc. And what are the invisible things, right? So we all have examples of those. Learning disabilities, neurodivergence, being queer, again, not invisible depending on where I am. Being a daughter of an immigrant. Many, many other examples. Okay, so we're gonna move into this piece, power and privilege. Going back to debunking myths about DEI that, you know, a lot of folks assume, not anybody in this room, a lot of folks assume that really it's work that white people have to do, right? In reality, we all have multiple privileges, and we all have different levels of power, and those can change over time throughout our lives. So as you look at this is not a comprehensive list. It doesn't have religion or faith on it. But look at these different categories and see what comes up for you. Which identities did you notice yourself first noticing in the visual? How do you see different parts of yourself represented?
To further orient us to this wheel, which you have in your handout packet as well if you're here in person, you'll notice that power is at the center of this wheel. That's very important to note. And this wheel is developed in the United States context. This wheel looks really different in other contexts. So I just want to be very, very clear about that. And to Ellie's point, you know, I would make an argument that if you're in this room right now, we have privilege. It's a privilege to be here today. Okay. So this was, you know, I just want to share as a facilitator my own learning journey. This was super powerful for me personally, especially when I was organizing with undocumented students and realized that my citizenship was had so much privilege. I have so much privilege. I was not aware of that. I took advantage of that, took it for granted. So I'm just sharing that to share that I also have other identities. I do not get privilege from my race as a Black woman, right? And so I live with these dualities in my own life. And so that's really the heart of what intersectionality is that we have these, we are dynamic individuals, each one of us, right? And so we have varying proximities to power. So we want to invite you to sit with this power and privilege wheel. And we're going to, if you don't have a notebook, you're here live with us. There's some going around. We're going to invite just a few minute exercise before we take a break for today. And the first part of this, we're going to give you just a couple minutes on your own to write in your notebook or on anything else that you choose. And review the wheel. And identify identities that you hold. Okay? And make note of what is missing. Okay? And make mention of how does it feel to look at this wheel? we're not going to collect this from you, right? You don't have to like hand it in at the end of this assignment. But we really hope that you take a few minutes. So I will look at my clock. I got it right here. We're going to take 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to check in. Again, write down or think for yourself what identities you hold, what identities are missing from the wheel that you wish were there. Employees of the city of San Jose mentioned that Faith was missing from that wheel. Love that. There are some updates to this wheel. I can share it later. And then how are you feeling with this? Just for yourself. I'll check in 2 minutes. That's right. You're smart. Yeah, I'm not a politician, I swear. I'm just kidding. Yeah, okay, cool. Take another 30 seconds or so. Wrap up your thoughts. Okay. We're going to take the about 5 minutes remaining that we have before we take a break to get into pairs. So if you're here in person, I'd love for you to turn to your neighbor and just a couple minutes each, right? Low stakes, y'all. Share what you want to share. Don't share what you don't want to share. You can do this. Okay. So in pairs, discuss your identities while considering the following questions. All right. What are your favorite aspects of your identity? I find it important to affirm ourselves. And what do you wish others understood about your identities that maybe others might not understand about your identities? My only wish is that we had more time for this. It's juicy, it's fun, it's interesting, right? So take a moment, turn to a neighbor. No more than 3 if you're on the city council. Just 2, please. And I will prompt you in about 4 minutes. Get started.
And for those online, we will ask you to chime in when we call the group back to order. She just reminded me. So we're not using stanzas. How are we gonna?
No, we can't do sticky. Then we'll just, you know what, this group, I feel like we can just call it out, we'll write it down.
Yeah, it's a small enough group.
Yeah,
I
here,
thought
let
it
me
would
put
be.
this up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's more intimate than I thought.
Yeah.
So this is why. one more minute. One more minute. Okay, finish your thought, please. Okay. All right, so we have reached the end of this section. We are going to be moving on, but I am super encouraged to see so much engagement at this point. Thank y'all for indulging us in the ways that you have. So I have two homework assignments. In the next 15 minutes for you. So while you enjoy your break, we also have a survey out, and if you haven't completed the survey yet, please do. So if you could do that during the break or when you get back, that'd be great. And during your 10-minute break, we would love to know, and there is no third option, okay? There is only two options. While you're on a break, while you're taking a break, think about your preference. I have very strong preferences generally, most especially when it comes to over and under. So, and I'm not going to tell you my preference yet. Okay, so think about your preference, talk about your preference. We're going to ask you about your preference when you come back. We have 15 minutes. We're taking a break now, okay? Back in 3:15 p.m. Thanks.
way back.
So we'll just do this as a large. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great. Who else? Want me to do slides? I'll do slides. Yeah. Okay, we are returning to the session for those online. If you stepped away, this is a good time to come back. We hope you enjoyed a little break. We hope you thought about the very important question at hand. Over or under. So Ellie's gonna facilitate a group discussion. And so, yeah, I'm gonna pass it over to you now, Ellie.
Thank you, Lena. Yeah, thank you, everybody. I do hope it was a good break. You got some nourishment. We're going to get into, you might think that this toilet paper analogy is just a joke. But what we're going to talk about is dominant culture. And there may be some assumptions about what that is, what it isn't, when, if it changes. But we're going to start with just some questions. So when you think about your preference, even just back to that toilet paper image, probably brings up some strong feelings for some of us. We are going to do preferences. So societal norms, and that can be interpreted in many ways. There's no really wrong answer there. So when we think about societal preference, think of an example and why you are passionate about it. By passion, you can just strong feeling, right? Not necessarily passion in other ways, but just I feel strongly about. And the second question, how have those norms shaped your preferences? So we could start with an example. And this is also cultural, but saying grace before a meal, right? Depending on your faith, depending on your family, tradition. I'm a part of that ritual. The ritual also shapes me. What are some examples that come up for you when you see these questions? And Lena's going to write them down so that we can take a look at them later.
I had some angst that we came back a minute late from the break. Timeliness, being on time, it's a thing. That's definitely informed by dominant culture, right? Right? Sense of urgency. Here's an example, right? So I'm going to start writing, and we're going to open it up for sharing from the large group. So ignore the groups of 3. We're not going to do that. We're going to do it in a large group today, okay?
So what's an example one person wants to name? Sense of urgency, Lena just named. Timeliness, no matter how you think about it, it seems normal, right? Can anyone relate to perfectionism? I see some hands. Thank you for being honest. What's another one? handshaking, maybe less at the beginning of COVID, but it's definitely normal before and becoming normal again. What other examples can you think of? Yes.
Would titles be an example? You know, the titles we give ourselves or each other, right? That establishes hierarchy.
Titles and hierarchy. Yeah, absolutely. Signifying the roles people hold, their level of responsibilities. What other ones can you think of? Yes, Kelly.
Something around working hard or working fast, maybe some combination of both of those.
Hard work, right? A lot of people equate or associate that very much being an American value, right? Working hard. That's a good one. What else? These include things that we may not really think about on the day-to-day because they're normal, right?
The hard work, Kelly, reminds me of the notion of bootstrapping, right? Same, related, right? Self-made, I'd like to say the myth of self-made. Self-made, it's ridiculous.
Yes. Whether you dye your hair or not. That's a good one too.
Can you say a little bit more about it? To have or not to have.
Yeah, and was there a time when hair dyeing was considered differently than it is now? Mm-hmm. So references to something that many of us felt very differently about before COVID for a multitude of reasons. And an event occurs, a significant event. And we confront stereotypes. Maybe not a stereotype for everybody, but considered by many, right? About gender and sex, women's hair, symbols of many, many things, right? That we take for granted all the time. How have any of these norms or other ones that you haven't named shaped your preferences? And it's normal if you're having a hard time thinking about this because some of them feel invisible, right?
I think each person has to determine what's important to them and what's not, and then thanks. I use a pretty loud voice. You base you base how you're gonna act on an everyday basis off of what's important to you. What I've noticed is that I've seen some societal norms that are eroding, like for example, politeness, like giving someone your undivided attention with, these kids these days on their phones all the time. And not only just kids, right? But stuff like that, holding a door open for somebody else, not necessarily just a woman. But I mean, those things are important to me. Handshaking is important, and things have kind of eroded over time. And so makes you wonder a little bit, but these are personal preferences each person possesses.
Those are great, great examples. Kelly, I saw your hand.
I was just going to offer, relative to the one that I put up there around working hard and this pull yourself up by your own bootstrap, it often can lead to expediency or working individually as opposed to inclusivity and working collaboratively.
Thank you. Ideas about individualism, working on your own separately, and juxtaposing that against group work, communal work, community. All right, so thank you, Lena, for writing these down. We're gonna pick a few.
I'm sorry, I'm online, so I couldn't physically raise my hand.
Thank you for chiming in.
This is Councilmember Raul Perales. And I was just gonna bring up actually, so the fact the reason I'm not there today is both of my kids were not feeling well. And so one of the norms that has come up in my life, and certainly the comparison with my father's life, was just on who's the primary caretaker for children. And you know, my dad didn't change many diapers for my sister and and I am the primary diaper changer have been for both my kids. And my dad now does. He changes diapers as a grandfather, but and that's a norm that's kind of changed. But I think that is something that has certainly shaped my preferences. I thoroughly enjoy being a father and being seen as a father. I had my daughter, my youngest, with me at a press conference today, and for my colleagues, they know that I would bring my children with me often to work. And I think one of the sad things about that still is that for men that do that, we're praised. And for women that do that as mothers, you can be frowned upon, right? And I've seen that with colleagues of mine that have ran for office, and they get questioned, why are they running for office when they have young children? And, you know, and I had both of my children during campaigns, and nobody questioned them. So I think that's just one of those that has been a norm, and one that's certainly changing, hopefully, that I see for the better.
Such an excellent example. Thank you so much. So we're going to get into demystifying what culture is, right? So we see this iceberg. You already know what's coming. We know what we can see, but we know there's a ton under the surface. And up at the top will be the really obvious things, the things that most of us associate and understand as culture. Food, music, games, holidays, language, literature, how we come to know what we believe. And below the waterline, this is the work we're going to do together, and this is what is so important in racial equity work. Notions of courtesy, manners, beauty, even leadership, concepts of time, concepts of family, fairness, justice, what is just, and these attitudes towards all kinds of things, different beliefs about children, great example that just came up, rules in general, work, cooperation, competition, authority. And as we go deeper and deeper, it becomes less and less obvious. So our approaches to raising kids, marriage, decision-making. This is one as leaders we're going to call in a minute. Problem solving is on that list as well. Problem solving is cultural. How we solve problems is cultural. Communication norms as well differ from culture to culture, but there's a lot that's shared, from body language, facial expressions, sense of personal space. Oh, he was standing too close to me. Gestures, and how we display and handle our own emotions. So these categories really do explain more deeply how culture is really the way we do things around here, and these integrated patterns of belief, knowledge, values, symbols, all of these behaviors. Some of what we consider as culture is visible, like you see in this iceberg. And those pieces I just listed off can be much less perceptible, but they're always there. So when we look at the iceberg, we're really looking at what knowledge, ways of being do we transmit to those around us? How have we absorbed these things? How do we communicate them? And what are the subtlest of ways that that comes out, intentionally or unintentionally? All right, so these examples, when we say culture, you might not think of these as cultural, but you will recognize them and you will relate to them, guaranteed. So we're going to talk about the example, how it's transmitted, and what you can do. How you can take away some change into your daily practices. The first is either or thinking. This is the assumption that there's a binary of truth in all things. The reason why this can be really harmful is that this binary is usually not real, and it literally erases what many people experience. It is felt most severely by those with marginalized identities. It ignores important and cultural nuances and subtleties that we need to lift up and recognize for so many reasons, justice being one of the most important. So this comes out in how we collaborate, right? This way or that way. Which one do we want? How we make decisions, how we feel about transparency. Are we going to be transparent or not? Versus what lies in the middle. And what are the implications of those things? The bullet list on the right, this concept of objectivity can be a very cultural one and a very difficult one to accept. But there are usually gradients in the middle where the truth and multiple truths often live. So thinking about how can I move away from insisting on objectivity? It's either true or not. I'm the expert or I'm not. This is happening or it's not. Non-closure, extremely difficult, right? Very uncomfortable. No, we have to come to closure on this. We are emotionally hardwired to create certainty because we were evolved to understand where we are safe and where we are not. Leaning into that gray area and creating multiple opportunities for dialogue are all ways to change either or thinking. Now, these norms aren't always bad, right? We're not saying that they always are, but they can, when they're upheld over time, negatively impact those who are most marginalized. So the next few examples, fear of open conflict. This is a really common one, and actually one we don't even like to talk about. We don't even like to acknowledge that we're afraid of conflict, right? Tension is tense, it's hard. This is about the avoidance of difficult truths, discomfort, belief that if we don't talk about the hard stuff, if we pretend certain problems don't exist, they just might go away. Or we won't have to deal with them. So the reason this is harmful is that the problems don't go away, right? We have to confront them. And we need to learn how to communicate directly and accurately. And when some people do that, they get punished and silenced. And if you've ever heard the term respectability politics, that is one example. So how does this show up? Again, emphasis on being polite. When people raise difficult issues, they're seen as rude or they're out of line. the avoidance of surfacing issues that we can't solve or can't solve easily. How can we change? What can we do differently? Conflict generation versus or generative conflict, exploring how conflict can teach rather than simply need to be resolved is one example. How can we get comfortable with discomfort? What are the ways that we can do that? We think about how power shows up. How can we mitigate power dynamics in a situation? And you as leaders are in that position to model changes that you want to see. Any tone policing that you might have not even realized that you had. I'm guilty of that. It happens all the time. These are things that can make a real difference in behavior change over time. Your familiarity with power hoarding in your work probably needs no introduction. Hoarding ideas from less senior people, treated as a threat, information and decision-making is confidential. Holding on to resources, scarcity mindset. So what can be different? Ideas at all levels are valued for the positional expertise they represent. That includes lived experience. Ideas from others are requested, and space is made for them to be heard. Intentional space. Budgets are made available for viewing, providing input on. Resources are shared equitably and appropriately. And the fourth example, transactional relationship. When we detach and separate professional communication for the purpose of completing a transaction and being efficient, reaching out or acknowledging people only when you need something from them can feel actually quite normal in our culture. What would be different? Relationships, building trust and relationships internally, externally, building understanding, sharing commitments together. So we can see how even in the simplest ways, just taking time to see, greet, acknowledge each other, establishing caring connection, especially when there isn't any time. So the scarcity of time is very key to acknowledge here as well. So when we're thinking about our preferences, we're going to stop for a moment and also think about, where do these show up for you in your work? Where do they show up in your experience? And just take a moment to flash back to those times. How did it feel? Did you want to do something about it? Did it just feel like the right thing to do?
So, anybody familiar with Dr. Daniel Goleman? Yeah. Emotional intelligence, EQ framework, which is what we use. So we're going to make some connections here. Daniel Goleman also produced this handy 6 leadership styles. And we want to just invite you to sit with it. Hopefully you can see it on your screen if you're online as well. And, you know, Ellie and I started thinking about, you know, how using this 6 styles of leadership, how are our styles, our individual styles, how does that shape how we approach problem solving, collaboration, decision making, conflict resolution, right? These are all things we're tasked to do as leaders, everyone in this room. So we want to, I guess, in 3 minutes.
5 minutes.
me minutes. We're going to invite you to turn to pairs and talk about your leadership style. We'll leave this on the screen. No real prompts, but I would love for you to take a moment to yourself to assess, where do you generally land? I know I'm a Libra, so context matters. It really, I'm probably all over the place. It really depends, and certainly has changed over time as I've developed my own leadership. So take a second, orient to what's on the screen here. Take a moment, see where you land, and consider, how do you make decisions? How do you collaborate with others? How do you problem solve? And turn to your partner and discuss for 3 minutes. And then we'll return, okay? Could be the same partner, can be a different partner. It don't matter. Thank you. Sorry, just because I wanted you to be able to do the best practices and not like feel like you gotta plow through it. So if they come back in 3 minutes and we really wrap up in the next before 4,
Yep.
then that we are like,
We'll be good.
on. 3 minutes is never enough. Okay. All right. Can we pass it over? Ready? Okay.
All right. How was that? To talk about anything you're noticing about your leadership style, how it's changed over time, how it can, depending on what you're doing. Have you talked about this stuff before? Yeah. Is it easy to? No. I saw somebody nod. Somebody said no. That's all normal, right? But noticing how you feel, that emotional intelligence, we're coming back to that, right? Mindfulness. It's not just a cute concept. It can actually really, really help us be better in 1,000 ways in racial equity strategy. So we're going to go into how you can leverage your power and privilege as a leader, no matter what your identity is. So some best practices, when we get to the neuroscience of implicit bias and how we can't erase it, we can't truly, truly unlearn it, but we can get really a lot better at mitigating it. And while we don't have the neuroscience stats to get into right now, there are 4 top times when we are most vulnerable to making bias-based decisions. What are those times? Thank you for reading the handout. Okay. The number 1 time is when we are unaware of our own emotional state. Because nobody gets stressed out, nobody's running late, nobody's distracted by problems that they're being asked to solve all day, every day. But when we don't slow down and notice, how am I feeling right now? Am I in the best state of mind to make this decision? A lot of things can happen in that moment. The bubble on the right, problem definition. When we don't know or agree on what problem we're trying to solve. Ever happened to you? Right? All day, right? That's the work. How do we agree on what the problem is? But slowing down long enough. Are the right people in the room? Do I have what I need? How do we know, right? How can we move forward with our teams, our constituents, our colleagues, fellow leaders? The bubble on the bottom, when we are missing information. How common is that? There's a lot we can do about this, and we can't always resolve it, right? But these categories, you can see they apply to almost anything and everything that we spend our time on. And so when we think about what are the decisions, what am I working on where these things are most prone to happen, that is where you can benefit most from your own emotional intelligence. So missing information, when we lack the right information in order to make the decision, and this bubble on the left, everybody chuckles, when we're distracted, when we're under pressure, right? When there are other factors, for any reason at all, this can be just normal human stuff, insomnia, right? I didn't get enough sleep and my head's not in the right place. We just had an argument with a spouse, a neighbor, a colleague, whatever, right? It all applies. So because these apply and pop up in almost every area of your work, the universality of the benefits of emotional intelligence come into play in very, very critical ways. So what can we do about that? The more you can learn about emotional intelligence and mindfulness, the better. Again, am I in the right state of mind to make this decision? And being honest with ourselves about how we read our own emotions. Are we as self-aware as we think, as we want to be? How can we change that? How can we slow down, be more mindful? Taking time to include the right people, the right groups, right? We often feel pressure to make the decision, bias towards action. We got to get it done for many, many reasons. Are we all on the same page? Are the right people in the room? The missing information piece, this is where checks and balances really come into play. Not the sexiest thing, right? Procedurally, but we need them. We need them for all of these reasons. They are safety guards to make sure that we have the resources we need to do our jobs well, successfully, and meaningfully. Do we have enough time to do this? So how we budget our time, how does that translate? That translates into our schedules. How packed is my calendar? How often am I looking at my phone, right? How much pressure is there? And assessing urgency. Sense of urgency is a dominant cultural norm. So anytime you're asking people to calm down, anytime you're asking people to slow down, you're often taking a break from dominant culture. And that can be really uncomfortable, right? When was the last time you asked somebody to do that and the pressure to stay on schedule took over? It happens all the time. So your ability to use your privilege and move past these dominant cultural norms is a lot more critical than it might appear. So this is just one example. Imagining, hearing, we're privy to a lot of leadership challenges with leaders we work with. This problem is too big and too difficult to solve. Let's solve an easier problem. Let's go for the win, right? So here are some examples, what we often hear. I didn't create the problem, right? There isn't anything I can do in my role or department. Powerlessness, right? And individuals, the people themselves are responsible for the poor conditions that they experience. What would the reframe look like here? Bringing back what we know, again, historical context, your own lived experiences, other education and experience you have, to call out and call in conversations about systemic barriers. Remind people that they exist. They aren't stories, they're facts of history. Access to mortgages, safety, healthy living conditions, all of the things city services are responsible for in a bunch of different ways. So when we think about what can we do, trying on the reality that we're taught to be biased against those who face barriers instead of the barriers themselves, that can be uncomfortable because it feels too big. But reminding others, those within your spheres of influence, those who listen to you, it all plays a role. And even I, as a leader in different ways, know what feeling powerless is like, like that's when we're actually, even though it doesn't feel like it, we're centering ourselves rather than the greater good. And that is complicated, right? But how often do you find yourself saying, my hands are tied? I can't do anything about that. You think I can, but I can't. Often that may be true, and we need to slow down long enough and take note of what the options really are.
So in our leading up to and throughout the training series that we did, mandated for all staff in the spring, we sent out optional surveys, pre-survey and a post-survey. And we gathered 1,000 or more responses or so and learned a bit about the employee experience and folks' understanding in relationship to the concepts that we teach on. And so before we conclude our time together and hand it over to the Office of Racial Equity to carry us to the finish line here, I wanted to share a quote that really stood out that I feel is important, and it'll speak for itself. As a woman of color, I have experienced and seen the disadvantages of being able to excel and advance in a career with the city. My hope is that in the future, there is change for all to succeed, for all to have an opportunity, for equality in the workplace, a hope for a better future for generations to come. It's so powerful, so honest, right? And wanted to leave this with you as, to underscore the importance of why we're here today, the importance of the work that you do and the impacts that you have every day in the communities that you serve here in San Jose, and the opportunity to be leaders in this field and make a difference. So thank you for your time today. I think we'll probably contribute some final thoughts before we leave, but this is the end of the training portion. So thank you so much. It's been really an honor and a pleasure to be with you. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ellie and Lena, for curating such a powerful presentation. Yes, slightly different than the one that was shared with the rest of the workforce, but this was very unique for the leadership of San Jose. And so we thought it was important to put these concepts in real ways, right, that are tangible and pragmatic for you to look at, to reflect on, and examine. So next, in the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Office of Racial Equity, our approach to the work, and highlight some bright spots. I have this power here, don't I? Okay. So this is an update on the citywide efforts. It's not just the Office of Racial Equity, it's the efforts by the entire organization. And again, just some highlights. There's a lot of great work that's happening. And I'll get into some of that in a little bit. But at the end of the 20 minutes, we want you to have an understanding of the role of the Office of Racial Equity as a strategic support partner for the organization, as well as the awareness of the talent, wisdom, and progress that's already been made by the organization. So first things first, here's the team. Meet the team. The team is sitting in the back and over here. Newest member of the Office of Racial Equity, Nick Kawada, to the left here. We are fully staffed, and it's a small team, but this is a team of people who are committed to advancing racial equity, who all come with a different set of lived experience. We speak multiple languages on this team. We're from different parts of the country. And this is a team that also embraces the welcoming and belonging work and the Welcoming San Jose plan that we started back in 2015. This is a team who the qualities that we aim to aspire to are those that are courageous and collaborative, compassionate, accountable, and inclusive. And I say those words out loud because we've had a lot of deep thinking and hours of conversations about the role that this Office of Racial Equity has in this large organization. And so being clear about the qualities that we aspire to in our work on a daily basis is really important. So why we exist, technically speaking, we exist because the mayor and the city council unanimously voted to establish the Office of Racial Equity. We all know that. So thank you all to the elected officials that helped make this happen back in 2020. I am celebrating my 2-year anniversary next month. Actually, Sunday. There we go. But why we exist, why does Office of Racial Equity exist? We already talked about, earlier you heard about the historical context, so I'm not going to spend time on that. But we also know that we entered public service with a real need and sense of obligation to make things better for the people that live in this great city of San Jose. And it's our duty to ensure good public administration. This is something that Angel always says, and I reflect on it all the time. What is good public administration? And part of that is advancing racial equity work. It's centering the people who perhaps are not thriving, who have been left behind. And while we're not responsible for, old policies or legislation that happened decades ago, we are responsible for making course corrections so that all residents of San Jose have an opportunity to thrive. And so what this means for the Office of Racial Equity is that we have to shift culture and we have to ensure a practice of embedding equity in everything that we do. And that's part of one of the roadmap items is advancing racial equity through culture and practice. And so it's very intentional when we talk about both of these and I'll go into it a little more later about why you can't separate them and that they have to happen simultaneously. But the reason that today's session and the Justice Collective's work earlier is so important is because it spoke so much to the culture piece. The culture piece, which is influenced and navigated and driven by the leadership, right? It's not the Office of Racial Equity that shifts culture. It's all of us in this room. So as the Office of Racial Equity, again, we had numerous hours just thinking about what is our North Star. And for us, centering the fact that we want a city in which all people in our community and organization, right? Our organization is very important because we're also in service of the community, to thrive and where no racial disparities exist. That's our North Star, eliminate racial disparities. And so our mission as an office and as a strategic support partner to the organization is to support the city to embed a racial equity practice and embody a culture that sustains it. And I love this mission statement because it speaks to, yes, the practice and all those things that we need to do to upskill the organization to do this well. But it talks about embodying a culture that sustains it because culture eats policy for breakfast. We could put all the tools together in place and we could have all the trainings, but if the culture doesn't shift towards actually making this as just a standard in the way that we believe, our belief systems, our behaviors, and our actions, then all the work that we're doing internally to embed racial equity will not be institutionalized. So again, this is a roadmap item that we'll be reporting to the City Council on a quarterly basis on what we're doing in these areas. So again, culture is the equity mindset. That's what's necessary to shift the culture. It requires leadership. And when we speak about equity mindset, it's that being aware. It's a self-awareness. It's being trauma informed. All of those things that you've been learning about over the last year or so are part of shaping that culture. And as leadership, we'll have to have discussions about what is that, right? How does that look for us? How does it sound like? How do we behave? How do we maybe push back on some of the dominant culture areas that perhaps are not serving us well when we're trying to advance racial equity? And then the practice, this is the kind of stuff that we're doing as the Office of Racial Equity in partnership with many departments. The one missing piece was the trauma-informed piece here, but we're seeking improved outcomes for communities of color. We know that. We want to anchor in disaggregated data, disaggregated by race. Departments are already on their way. In fact, 2 years ago when we implemented the Budgeting for Equity worksheet and we asked the question, are these decisions informed by data disaggregated by race? There is a shift in the organization, and I've seen it over the last 2 years, that departments who maybe didn't have all the data, the following year had the data, or were finding ways to extract the data. Centering community voice. There's a citywide effort in coming up with a equitable community engagement framework led by Deputy City Manager Rosalind Huey, and then members of my team, particularly Sabrina Parra Garcia, has been very instrumental in creating a framework where we're doing this well, a community engagement process that is not extractive and that shifts power. We also want to commit to integrity and accountability, and we want to engage in a practice to increase self-awareness, and that's what today is about. Again, technically speaking, this is what we do, right? We provide trainings, we provide tools, lots of consultation hours. In fact, we're starting to keep track of that because there's a lot of hours that goes into that. And we're happy to do it, you know, to the extent that we have the people power to consult on policies or memos and so forth. We'll sit at those tables with departments to do some of that. Information sharing, and again, ensure community engagement and feedback. I'll just run quickly through this. So the ecosystem around racial equity work in the organization is growing. And so this is just a part of it, but we also understand that there's a larger ecosystem, not only in the Bay Area, and I sit on a network of other chief equity officers or directors of Office of Racial Equities offices in the Bay Area. Andrea sits on another network. I'm also part of the National GARE directors and chiefs of Offices of Racial Equity, where we're sharing information, and I can tell you that we're doing really well. That's all I'll say about that. We're doing really well. So there's an ecosystem of people that are doing all of this work, but there's also the community, and they're part of the ecosystem. We have our nonprofit organizations. And so part of the what we want to do over the next year is trying to decide and, you know, to sort out who's in the ecosystem and how do we align the efforts so there's momentum and power driving towards the outcomes that we want to see different in San Jose. You've all seen this before, so I'm not going to go over the normalize, organize, and operationalize. Everyone's familiar with this, but the reason I bring it up is because we have some really good examples for you today on how this is, you know, the work in action in the city of San Jose. So things are happening every day, from data and atlases that we're creating to trainings with senior leadership, executive staff, and others, to a lot of the welcoming and inclusion work that we're doing with immigrants and refugees, the Immigration Spotlight Series, and the small business support, particularly for immigrant-owned restaurants. And you saw some materials in the back on that. There are a lot of bright spots in San Jose. I'm actually not going to spend so much on the accomplishments of the Office of Racial Equity, because I want to make sure that we have time for 3 speakers that are going to come up in just a little bit. But part of what is important to share here is, as Lee mentioned earlier, this is the foundational racial equity trainings. This is the data point as of June 30th, because it was a mandate to have 100% of the workforce participate in that. The numbers look good. What's important here is that every new staff member that joins the city organization has a certain amount of time. I think it's 30 days to watch parts 1 and 2. And we'll also be incorporating more of this in out years. We are leading the pack among regions and peers and mandating these types of trainings, and actually the scale at which we're doing them at. We're also really excited about the Equity Roundtable, which we're renaming San Jose for All, and having this as a model for how equitable engagement, community engagement looks like. Lots of successes related to the welcoming work. There's a conference that's coming out to San Jose next April. We've been identified as a host city, and the very first city in the West Coast to have that. And this is really exciting. The racial equity action plans. 18 racial equity action plans have been developed in the city organization, 18 departments, with 260 action items, all within which are within the framework of normalize, organize, and operationalize. 260 action items. Just think about that for a minute. This is above and beyond all the other work that people have, right? And yet people in departments, city staff and departments came together and pulled together an action plan that they thought was reasonable and feasible and at the place where their departments were at. Some departments are further ahead. you know who you are, library, housing, Parks and Rec, and other departments are quickly catching up. And so it is just really exciting to see this. To date, 73 items have already been completed, 104 are in progress, and we are so delighted that we're able to work with departments to make more progress there. So some more bright spots under the normalize. We're going to have Chief Sapien talk a little bit about their efforts there in their department. Under organize, planning, building, code enforcement, we'll share a little bit about the racial equity action plan. And then under operationalize, we have Rick Scott from the DOT to talk about repave San Jose. So let me hand it over to the chief first.
Thank you, Sulma. Good afternoon. My name is Robert Sapien, not Chief Sapien. Some people don't know that I have a first name still. So in the fire department, as Zulma described, we went through creating an equity action plan, and different members of our senior staff team took on different parts of the normalize, organize, and operationalize piece. I thought it was important that we take very purposeful steps in terms of preparing the organization to have the discussions that will be necessary to advance the conversations around racial equity. And so I took on the normalize portion. And with the help of Dr. Andre Lockett, we've begun to have department-wide dialogue sessions to really start to talk about how we will initiate dialogue across the organization so that we can hear from everyone about how we're doing. And it's a little bit of a challenge in the fire department to reach everyone, so part of the plan is to come up with a way to right now penetrate 38 different work sites that we operate out of across multiple shifts, and to begin to have really good conversations building a core team to advance this initiative. So thank you.
Fantastic. Can we get an applause for that? Leading with intentionality, being present, and deeply invested in the work. That's what it looks like. Great. Next, we have, oh, there you are. Thank you. Powell is the last name.
Yes, you got it. No, it's fine. For those who don't know me, my name's Alex Powell. I'm with the Department of Planning, Building, Code Enforcement. So we are that department that's taking up all the technical assistance hours. But I know. Dr. Lockett. But I have the privilege of talking about just one of those 18 plans and our experience of going through that. What we did as a department to make sure that we included as much of our department in the creation of this plan. A new activity for us, I'd say a group that probably, I'd say, was behind and, did our best to catch up and try to capture a lot of actions. So in creating this plan, we first created a racial equity action plan team. We started calling REAP. I don't know if anyone else did that. But our REAP team started to come up with a plan of engaging as much of the department. This included road shows to individual teams, actually going out to them, setting up office hours for staff to attend. And we actually created a survey sent out to all staff that we actually got about 150 responses to help inform what to be included as part of the plan. We found some, I think, tough responses, but things that actually really helped guide what should be included into the plan. So we ended up with 30 actions. We used 4 goals to help guide how to organize those actions. I think a lot of us felt confused about how to approach this. It's such a big topic. I think a lot of us feel this way. And so the 4 goals you can see up on the slide, racial equity, excuse me, I could read them in full. Racial equity is woven into the PBC's culture as a value and practice. 2, to cultivate a diverse and inclusive workplace with equitable hiring practices and opportunities for advancement. 3rd, use disaggregate data and racial equity tools to inform decision-making and allocate resources. And finally, 4th, ensure equitable access to information, services, and engagement opportunities. These tend to trend more on the normalized and organized, but I think the biggest part of what we've experienced benefit is just having that organizing principle gives tools for staff to figure out how to engage with us. And so that's been probably the biggest lesson for us, is that to change culture within our department, we need representatives throughout the department, and having a group, no longer the REAP team, but just the racial equity team meeting on a monthly basis, checking in on our plan quarterly. Our quarterly check-in is actually next Wednesday. actually gives the opportunity for staff and an obvious cadence and for staff to engage and know how to get involved. And hopefully when we actually do the survey again, one of our actions is to do the survey annually. Next year, we'll actually have a different approach or different feedback on the way that the department is approaching it. So that said, I think I'll leave it at just a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A large, complex department, and it can be done. Okay, Rick Scott from Department of Transportation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rick Scott, Deputy Director in DOT, and we're going to talk about repave San Jose today. So for a long time, long-standing practice in DOT was to pave primarily the major streets, so like 950 miles of our arterials and other roadways. Funding was really low, and so we have about 1,500 miles of local and neighborhood streets that were neglected for about 20 years. And we neglected everyone pretty evenly, but everyone was neglected. So about 2018, 2019, a lot of funding sources kind of hit us all at once, and we got out there really fast and decided that we probably needed a way to learn about equitable service delivery while also getting out there, because we just had so many streets to maintain. So we kind of embarked on this condition-based maintenance cycle while also doing the analysis to kind of figure out what equity looked like. And so to do that, we looked at some disaggregated data sources. The best thing we could find at the time was the equity priority communities designated by the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. Those data sets look at things like race, income, English proficiency, among other things. And so we started overlaying that with the work we were doing to just kind of get a sense as to what we were doing, just kind of looking at the maintenance condition of the roadways. We found a couple of things in this analysis. One was that about a quarter of our San Jose streets in the residential network are considered equity priority communities, so they have these challenges. We also found that our work was more or less evenly distributed at the time, without controlling for it. But as we kind of went forward, we're on year 3 of this plan right now, and we've been lucky to get some pretty low bids and some pretty efficient project delivery. And we started accumulating these project savings year over year. And we got to a point where we looked at our budget and realized we had about $8.8 million in surplus that we had saved over the years. And I like to be aggressive with things, so we wanted to do another project in 2022. And so we kind of were looking at that. We looked at kind of the efficient way to spend it, and we started realizing that there were equity priority communities in the city that were not getting treated, and there, again, we were primarily looking at condition, but when you have the network we have, there's almost no wrong answer as far as where you're going to go next for poor condition. But we found there were these equity priority communities that had not been paved in a long time and needed it. So we thought that was a good pilot project for us to embark on and kind of pave using equity priority communities and condition, kind of cross-referenced as our project. So we have a project this year, 20 miles, $8.8 million of equity priority communities that we're going to be done with end of this construction season. And ultimately are kind of holding ourselves accountable on an ongoing basis for this metric now, equity priority communities, by looking at what we have in the pavement maintenance world, PCI, which is Pavement Condition Index. So it's a score 0 to 100, kind of assessing what your pavement maintenance looks like. And so we're cross-referencing from here on out the pavement condition, the PCI of our equity priority communities against our non-equity priority communities in council districts to just kind of ensure that we're distributing this pavement work fairly and that we're bringing the overall average up. So we're comparing them against each other in the council districts, and then we're cross-referencing that to the overall citywide average PCI to make sure that no one's really falling behind and that we're keeping this network in good shape. So obviously the goal is to bring that whole score up, but in the meantime, I think a relative measure is probably most realistic for us, and that's our story. So hand it back to Zulma.
Great work. Just 3 examples. Really, we could spend the entire day looking at examples across the city where this work is being operationalized already and where leadership has really stepped in. In fact, this is a good time to thank, for example, IT, who has been saying for a little while now, how can we help? And there are ways, right? So we're working with IT. They have 2 equity fellows who have come on board, and there's some pilot projects that will be happening soon. There's the Public Works Department, who's been such an incredible partner in helping us launch the San Jose Equity Atlas and neighborhood and demographic explorers and all of this stuff. There are useful tools for the organization to make, to inform decision making. So quickly on the horizon, we're getting close to the end of the hour here. So In the first quarter, foundational racial equity trainings, we were, trying to make sure that the rest, those that did not participate in the spring are participating. We also had today specific for the leadership. We also offered a DEI training on Islamophobia about a month ago for the entire organization. What's next is budgeting for equity workshop. So this is the third year in the making, and the organization is in a better place than it has been in the past. We're starting earlier. We're not starting in December. And so this is progress. We heard from the survey results from the last budgeting for equity process that administrators really wanted to see this work and get some training up sooner than later. We also will be starting racial equity tools learning sessions, and that will just be ongoing. Quarter three, again, this is just a snapshot. Immigration bystander training workshops, launch the San Jose for All advisory group. And then we have the Welcoming Interactive Conference in late April. We also are really excited to be joining, partnering with an organization to do online trilingual civics curriculum to get people ready to engage with us in equitable community engagement. Actually, before I say my thank yous, I first want to thank you all for just being in the room today and for your deep listening and your for being completely active. I could see and sense in the room that we all sort of needed to hear these terms and concepts again. Every time I hear, especially the Justice Collective speak, I learn something new. And it takes a few times to hear these terms and concepts so that we can examine the way that we're reacting to them, and also examine, how we show up in the workplace, examine how we perpetuate dominant culture. And I have to say this, dominant culture is white supremacy, and it's insidious. And so part of when we think about shifting culture, we have to be very aware about what it is that we're perpetuating on a daily basis that sometimes harms or gets or opaques our decision making because we've been taught to process things a certain way. And so I get that we're not going to resolve things in the next year because this is generational work. But I can tell you that what we decide to do today as a leadership is going to change the trajectory of this organization and this city for decades to come. And so that is a huge opportunity, no pressure. It's an opportunity for us to talk about these things and be very, and open. And so I want to thank the leadership for engaging with us. Last December, what I wanted to say about the racial equity action plans is that in December of 2021, we had a large working session on racial equity action plans at the Mexican Heritage Plaza. By February, we had drafts from all departments, and by June, they were completed. I mean, you need to give yourselves a round of applause. That is action. That's equity in action. So thank you to the leadership here, to the mayor and the city council, the council members who are here today, also for your support and for also pushing us, right? Because you see, you're suffering from vicarious trauma by seeing and hearing the stories of people in your community, and we hear that. There are also nearly half of the city's employees live in San Jose, and they are part of the community. And so let's lean on them and allow them to bring their authentic selves to work so that they can share their stories. So in final, thank you again to Ellie and to Lena, the Justice Collective. What a wonderful partnership, and I will miss meeting with you every Friday to get ready for today. Again, city departments, to the Racial Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Citywide group, who meets bi-monthly and keeps these conversations fresh, and who are incredible thought partners, community partners that we regularly meet with, and of course the mayor and the city council. So with that, this session is closed, and I believe it's time for I'm going to hand it over to Councilmember.
I've been charged with landing the plane because some folks are busy doing other things. So first and foremost, let's give everyone on the screen, participants, folks from everyone around, applause. And I don't see Jennifer McGuire in here, so I don't know if she mandated this for all of you, but we very much appreciate your presence anyway. It really is important, difficult topic, but I think these conversations are very necessary, and so we very much appreciate the participation from our presenters and you, Zulma, for leading the efforts and bringing the city forward to acknowledge and try to work through some of these issues that have been lingering far too long. So thank you for that. Tony, do we have any public comments? Should I? Okay.
Paul Soto.
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Thank you for this presentation. It was very hard to listen to because the people that have benefited and have themselves from those systems that date back to 1846 on, there's been a cultural genocide that has continued to perpetuate throughout the 170 years, and people have benefited, profited from it, and they're not going to give up that power without being directly challenged. I directly challenged this city, and I got silenced. I got taken into a room and given a restraining order so that I can no longer participate simply because of exactly what was said in here. In this meeting, they stated specifically and clearly that anybody that starts challenging the system, the power structure, they're perceived as rude, they are silenced, they're perceived as an outsider, and they'll be taken into a room and given a restraining order so that I can no longer participate civically. I can't show up at any fiesta patrias. I can't participate in any kind of ciclo de mayo. I can't participate in nothing. This is what the city did to me. Secondly, language. Language wasn't talked about. I do not speak Spanish because it was customary and legal for them to abuse the children inside the schools so that they wouldn't speak Spanish. So they stripped from me, this city and the school districts, stripped from me the ability to speak Spanish. Okay, that still needs to be confronted, challenged, and ameliorated because people profited from that. That's what Citywide was about. That's what happened in Citywide. When you read the Geneva Conventions, a document, 1947, it states specifically that cultural genocide is against the Geneva Conventions. Cultural genocide was committed here in San Jose via the stripping of the language.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Thanks a lot for this meeting today. It was a very interesting meeting. Thanks a lot for that Paul Soto was here and was able to offer public comment. I think it's a perfect sort of meeting for me and Paul to both be kind of around and learning about. Thank you. Thank you. I guess I'll start off with some of Paul Soto's words that he offered the concepts of language ideas. We have some serious locked-in English-only language laws from the 1980s, from the era of Ronald Reagan, that I hope you guys are really interested to want to address, to add to Paul's words. I don't quite know where to go with the issue, but I think we're at a time that having a multi-language understanding of issues can really help move along the concepts of equity and really build a more open community process. It invites people to work with government more, I think, also. So good luck how we can address that issue. I know we feel pretty stupid in this country, only speaking, maybe one language and maybe Espanol. Good luck how we can work on such an issue. Thank you for talking about ideas of race earlier, and I like to use the term ethnicity. Hopefully you can be very good at teaching, what is a new language of how to address issues of equity. I'm 50, I would like to learn that sort of language. And to conclude, good luck on ideas of honesty with technology policies. If you practice honesty with the community, that's really important ideas of equity that really has to be understood. Thank you.
I think those are all the speakers we have. Let me just, I realize as we're going through the presentation that there's a lot that I'm sure we didn't touch on as it relates to language that's used in society and how we relate to each other. And so obviously I hope that there's other sort of spaces that discuss that. But thank you everyone for being here, and that we're done. Have a good day.